Check your car, champ.
The security camera footage showed my wife screwing another man in our bed at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday while I was supposed to be installing kitchen cabinets across town. I'm Dave Mitchell, 42 years old, and I run a custom furniture business from my garage. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps food on the table for my wife Lydia and our 16-year-old daughter Maya. Or at least it did until I watched my marriage explode in high definition on my laptop screen. "Dad, you look like you've seen a ghost," Maya said, walking into my workshop where I sat frozen, staring at the damning evidence. "Just work stuff, sweetheart. Nothing to worry about." I closed the laptop quickly, my hands shaking. "Shouldn't you be at soccer practice?" "Coach canceled. Mom's not home yet, and I'm starving. Can you make me a sandwich?" I nodded absently, following her into the house. The same house where Lydia had been entertaining her lover just 3 hours earlier. The same bed where we'd slept together for 15 years, where Maya had crawled in during thunderstorms as a little girl, where I'd held Lydia through her father's cancer scare 2 years ago. The kitchen felt different now. Everything felt different. "Earth to Dad," Maya said, waving her hand in front of my face. "You're acting super weird." "Sorry, kiddo. Just thinking about a project." I opened the refrigerator, grateful for something normal to do. "Turkey and Swiss, okay?" "Perfect. Oh, and Mom texted. She's working late again tonight, some big HR thing at the office." Working late. Right. I'd installed those security cameras 3 weeks ago after our neighbor Mrs. Feldman mentioned seeing unusual activity at our house during the day. I'd thought maybe we had a break-in problem. Turns out the only thing being broken into was my marriage. I made Maya's sandwich with mechanical precision, my mind racing. The man in the video was Chris Brennan, Lydia's co-worker from the regional office. I'd met him at company parties, tall, athletic, the kind of guy who wore expensive cologne and talked about his CrossFit times. The kind of guy who made jokes about blue-collar types like me. "Dad, you're putting way too much mustard on that sandwich." I looked down. She was right. I'd been squeezing the bottle unconsciously, lost in my thoughts of revenge. After Maya finished eating and went upstairs to do homework, I sat in my workshop, planning. I'm good with my hands, good at building things, good at taking things apart. Tonight, I was going to take my wife's perfect little world apart piece by piece. First, I called my best friend Eddie, who owns Murphy's Tavern downtown. "Dave, what's going on, buddy?" "Eddie, I need a favor. A big one." "Name it." "Can you cover for me if anyone asks? Say I was at the bar tonight from 6 to closing?" There was a pause. "Dave, what kind of trouble are you getting into?" "The kind where I catch my wife cheating and need an alibi for what I'm about to do next." "Jesus Christ. You sure about this?" "I've got it on video, Eddie. High definition, surround sound, the whole production." "That witch?" "Yeah, I got your back. But Dave, don't do anything stupid. Don't worry. I'm not going to hurt anyone. But I am going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person Lydia really is." Next, I called Lydia's parents. Judith and Alan Hartwell lived in the old Victorian house on Maple Street, the one that had been in their family for 3 generations. They were proper people, church-going people, the kind who still believed in marriage vows and family honor. "Hello, Alan. It's Dave. I need to talk to you and Judith about something important. Can I come over tonight?" "Of course, son. Is everything all right? You sound upset." "I'll explain when I get there. And Alan, you might want to have Judith sit down for this conversation." At 7:30, I knocked on the Hartwells' front door, laptop bag in hand. Judith answered, her silver hair perfectly styled despite the late hour. "Dave, dear, come in. Alan's in the living room. Would you like some coffee?" "No, thank you, Judith, but you should probably sit down." We gathered in their formal living room, all dark wood and family portraits. I set my laptop on the coffee table between us. "I installed security cameras in our house 3 weeks ago," I began. "I thought we might have had a break-in. Instead, I discovered something else entirely." I opened the laptop and turned it toward them. "This was recorded today at 2:47 p.m. I hit play. Judith gasped and covered her mouth. Alan's face went white, then red, then purple. "Turn it off," Judith whispered. "Please, turn it off." I closed the laptop. "There's more. Hours of it. Different days, different positions." Alan stood up abruptly, his hands clenched into fists. "That's our daughter. Our daughter, who we raised to be a decent woman, a faithful wife." "I'm sorry you had to see that," I said, "but I needed you to know the truth before I do what I'm about to do next." "What are you planning, Dave?" Judith asked, tears streaming down her face. I'm going to make sure everyone knows what she's done, her friends, her co-workers, everyone at church. I'm going to destroy her reputation the same way she destroyed our marriage. Alan nodded slowly. She's made her bed. Now she can lie in it. With Chris Brennan, apparently, I added. The next morning, I put my plan into motion. First, I called my assistant Ray and told him I was taking a few days off for a family emergency. Then I called Lydia at work. Hey, honey, I said, forcing my voice to sound normal. I got a last-minute job in Chicago. Big money, custom dining room set for some tech executive. I'll be gone until Friday. Oh, she said, and I could hear the excitement she was trying to hide. That's great, Dave. The extra money will be nice. Yeah, I'm leaving this afternoon. Kiss Maya for me when she gets home from school. Of course. Drive safe. I hung up and immediately called Mrs. Feldman, our 70-year-old neighbor who knew everyone's business and wasn't shy about sharing it. Mrs. Feldman, it's Dave Mitchell from next door. Oh, hello, dear. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Listen, I'm going out of town for a few days on business, and I was wondering if you could keep an eye on the house. Maybe watch for any unusual activity. Of course, dear. You know I'm always watching out for the neighborhood. Perfect. Mrs. Feldman had better surveillance skills than the FBI. I spent the rest of the day at Eddie's bar, nursing a beer and waiting. At 4 o'clock, my phone buzzed with a text from Lydia. Chris is coming over for dinner tonight to discuss the Henderson Project. Don't wait up when you get to Chicago. The Henderson Project. Right. At 6 p.m., I parked 3 blocks away from my house and walked back through the woods behind our property. I had a perfect view of our bedroom window from the old oak tree in our backyard, the same tree where Maya's tire swing hung, where we'd carved our initials 20 years ago when we were young and stupid and in love. At 7:15, Chris's silver BMW pulled into my driveway. I watched him walk to my front door carrying a bottle of wine and a bouquet of flowers. My flowers for my wife. In my house. I pulled out my phone and called the house. Lydia answered on the second ring. Hello? Hey, babe, just wanted to let you know I made it to Chicago safely. Oh, that's good. I was just finishing up some work with Chris. Chris is there at our house? Yes, we're going over the Henderson files. You know how complicated that account is. Right, well, don't work too hard. I love you. Love you too. Bye. She hung up quickly. I could see them through the living room window, Chris's hand already on her back, leading her toward the stairs. I waited 30 minutes, then made my move. I still had my house key, obviously. I crept through the front door as quietly as possible, hearing sounds from upstairs that made my stomach turn. I tiptoed to the hall closet and grabbed my old baseball bat, the Louisville Slugger I'd used in high school, the one Lydia always complained about me keeping. Then I called Lydia's parents. Alan, it's Dave. I need you and Judith to come to the house right now. What's wrong? She's here, with him, right now. We'll be right there. I waited on the front porch. The Hartwells arrived 10 minutes later, Alan's face grim, Judith clutching her purse like a tool. Are you sure about this, Dave? Judith whispered. Listen, I said. We stood there in the cool evening air, and the sounds from our bedroom window were unmistakable. Dear God, Judith breathed. I unlocked the front door. After you. We climbed the stairs together, 3 people united in righteous anger. The bedroom door was closed, but not locked. I turned the handle slowly and pushed it open. They were so absorbed in each other that they didn't notice us at first. Chris was wearing my bathrobe, my favorite robe, the one Lydia gave me for Christmas 3 years ago. Lydia was wearing nothing but the pearl necklace her grandmother had left her. Well, well, I said loudly. The Henderson Project is certainly more hands-on than I expected. Lydia screamed and grabbed for the sheet. Chris jumped up so fast he tripped over his own feet and crashed into my dresser, sending my watch collection scattering across the floor. Dave, Lydia gasped. What are you? You're supposed to be in Chicago. Surprise, I said. I brought some guests. That's when she saw her parents standing behind me. Judith was staring at her daughter with a mixture of horror and disgust. Alan was staring at Chris with pure rage. Mom? Dad? What are you doing here? We came to see what kind of woman we raised, Alan said, his voice shaking with fury. Apparently, we failed. Chris was frantically trying to put on his pants, hopping around on one foot like an idiot. Mr. Hartwell? Mrs. Hartwell, this isn't what it looks like. It looks like you're screwing my daughter in her husband's bed while wearing his bathrobe, Alan said. What exactly should it look like? I can explain, Lydia said, clutching the sheet to her chest. Please do, I said, leaning against the door frame with my arms crossed. I'm fascinated to hear how this is all a big misunderstanding. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. What was she going to say? That she tripped and fell on Chris's Johnson? You disgust me, Judith said quietly. Both of you. In this house, in this bed where my granddaughter was conceived. That hit home. Lydia started crying, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of someone who'd been caught and was feeling sorry for herself. Everyone just needs to calm down, Chris said, finally getting his pants on. We can work this out like adults. Adults? I laughed. Adults don't sneak around behind their spouse's back. Adults don't screw their coworker's wife in his own bed. Adults don't lie about working late when they're really working under my wife. Dave, please, Lydia said. Can we talk about this privately? No, I said. Privacy is what got us into this mess. From now on, everything is public. Chris tried to push past me toward the door, but I blocked his path. Where do you think you're going, champ? I'm leaving. This is between you and your wife. Oh no, you're very much part of this conversation. Sit down. I don't have to listen to this. I picked up my baseball bat from where I'd leaned it against the wall. I said, sit down. Chris sat on the edge of my bed, still wearing my robe over his hastily pulled-on pants. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here's what's going to happen, I said, addressing both of them. First, you're going to tell Lydia's parents exactly how long this has been going on. Dave, please, Lydia whispered. How long? Alan demanded. Lydia looked at the floor. 6 months. 6 months, I repeated. 6 months of working late and business dinners and team-building exercises. 6 months of lying to my face every single day. It wasn't supposed to happen, Chris said. It just developed naturally. Naturally? Judith said. There's nothing natural about adultery, young man. Mrs. Hartwell, you don't understand the pressure we're under at work. Lydia and I, we connect on a professional level that— Shut up, I said. Just shut up with your corporate buzzword BS. You wanted to screw my wife, so you did. At least have the balls to admit it. Alan stepped forward. Lydia, look at me. She raised her eyes to meet her father's gaze. Your mother and I raised you better than this. We taught you about commitment, about honor, about keeping your word. What happened to those values? I don't know, she whispered. I felt trapped. Like my life was just routine. Chris made me feel alive again. Alive, I repeated. Well, let's see how alive you feel when everyone at your office sees the security footage. Chris went pale. What security footage? I smiled. The cameras I installed 3 weeks ago. They've been recording everything. Every kiss, every touch, every time you've been in my house screwing my wife. High definition, perfect audio quality. You can't do that, Lydia said. That's illegal. Actually, it's not. It's my house, and I have every right to install security cameras. I also have every right to share that footage with whoever I choose. Dave, please, she said, tears streaming down her face now. Think about Maya. Think about our daughter. I am thinking about Maya. I'm thinking about how she deserves better than a mother who lies and cheats and brings strange men into our home. I'm not a strange man, Chris protested. I've been to your barbecues, your Christmas parties. Right, you have been to our parties, where you ate my food, drank my beer, and planned how to seduce my wife. That actually makes it worse, doesn't it? Judith was staring at her daughter with disgust. How could you do this to your family? To your marriage vows? You don't understand what it's like being married to him, Lydia said, gesturing at me. He's always working, always covered in sawdust, never wants to go anywhere or do anything exciting. So you decided to do someone exciting instead, I said. Problem solved. Alan shook his head. We're leaving. Judith, come on. Wait, I said. There's more. I pulled out my phone and opened the photo gallery. Chris, you might want to see this. I showed him a picture I'd taken of his BMW in our driveway with a clear shot of his license plate. I've been documenting everything. Dates, times, how long you stay, what you bring with you. I've got 3 weeks of evidence showing a pattern of adultery. What do you want? Chris asked. I want you to understand that your life, as you know it, is over. Your girlfriend, Jessica, is going to find out. Your coworkers are going to find out. Your CrossFit buddies are going to find out. Everyone is going to know that Chris Brennan is the kind of man who seduces married women. You bastard, he said. I'm the bastard? I'm not the one who's been screwing someone else's wife for 6 months. Lydia stood up, wrapping the sheet around herself. Fine. You want a divorce? You'll get a divorce. but I'm not going to let you destroy my life over this. Your life? I laughed. Lady, you destroyed your own life the minute you brought him into our bed. The court will see this as harassment, she said. You can't just humiliate us publicly and expect to get away with it. Actually, I can. Everything I plan to do is perfectly legal. Sharing security footage from my own home? Legal. Telling people the truth about what I witnessed? Legal. Making sure everyone knows what kind of people you really are? Completely legal. Chris stood up. I'm leaving now. Sure, I said, stepping aside. But Chris, you might want to check your car before you drive home. He pushed past me and stomped down the stairs. A minute later, we heard him screaming from the driveway. What did you do? Lydia asked. Nothing illegal, I said. But you might want to look out the window. She went to the window and gasped. I had spray-painted homewrecker across Chris's windshield in bright red letters. You can't do that. I just did, and that's just the beginning. Alan put his arm around his wife. Judith, we're going home. Lydia, don't bother calling us until you've figured out how to apologize for this disgrace. After her parents left, Lydia turned to me with fury in her eyes. You think you're so clever, don't you? You think you've won something here? I think I've exposed the truth. Everything else is just consequences. I'll destroy you in the divorce. I'll take half of everything, including your precious workshop. Good luck with that. See, adultery is still grounds for fault-based divorce in this state. And I've got evidence, lots and lots of evidence. She stared at me for a long moment, and I could see her calculating, trying to figure out her next move. Maya's going to hate you for this, she said finally. Maya's going to hate the person who broke up our family. That would be you, in case you're confused. I turned and walked toward the door. Where are you going? She called after me. Out. This is still my house for now, but I can't stand the smell. I drove straight to Murphy's Tavern, where Eddie was waiting with a beer and a sympathetic ear. How'd it go? He asked. Better than expected. Her parents saw everything. Chris is probably still trying to scrape paint off his windshield. Good for you, man. That took balls. Eddie, I need another favor. Name it. I need you to accidentally let it slip to a few people about what happened. Just casual conversation. Eddie grinned. Accidentally? I can do accidentally. Murphy's Tavern was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone else's business. By closing time, half the neighborhood would know that Lydia Mitchell was cheating on her husband with some corporate pretty boy. I was 3 beers in when my phone started buzzing with text messages. The first was from Mrs. Feldman. Dear, I saw that young man leaving your house in quite a hurry. Is everything all right? I texted back. Everything's fine now, Mrs. Feldman. Thanks for keeping an eye on things. The second was from Chris. You're going to pay for what you did to my car. I replied, send me the repair bill. I'll frame it. The third was from Lydia. We need to talk. I ignored that one. The fourth was from my daughter Maya. Dad, Mom is crying and won't tell me what's wrong. Where are you? That one sobered me up fast. I called Maya immediately. Hey, sweetheart. Dad, what's going on? Mom's been locked in your bedroom for 2 hours and there's red paint all over the driveway. I'll be home in 20 minutes. We need to have a talk. Is everything okay? No, honey. Everything is definitely not okay. But it will be. I drove home dreading the conversation I was about to have. Maya was smart, mature for her age, but she was still my little girl. How do you tell your 16-year-old daughter that her mother is a cheating liar? Maya was waiting for me in the living room when I walked in. Lydia was nowhere to be seen. Dad, you're scaring me. What happened? I sat down next to her on the couch. Maya, your mom and I are getting divorced. Her face crumpled. Why? What did you do? I didn't do anything, sweetheart. Your mother has been seeing another man. What do you mean, seeing another man? I mean, she's been having an affair for 6 months. Maya stared at me, processing this information. Are you sure? I have video evidence. Oh my God! She put her head in her hands. Who is it? Someone from her work. It doesn't matter who. It does matter. I want to know who destroyed our family. I sighed. His name is Chris Brennan. You've met him at company parties. The guy with the fancy car? The one who always talks about his workout routine? That's him. Maya was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I hate her. Don't say that. She's still your mother. She's a liar and a cheater. How could she do this to us? I don't know, honey. People make bad choices sometimes. Bad choices, Dad? This isn't a bad choice. This is evil. Before I could respond, Lydia appeared at the top of the stairs. Maya, Can we talk? No, Maya said firmly. I don't want to talk to you. Please, sweetheart. Let me explain. Explain what? How you've been lying to us for 6 months? How you brought your boyfriend into our house? Lydia came down the stairs slowly. It's complicated, Maya. You don't understand adult relationships. I understand cheating, Maya shot back. I understand lying. I understand that you destroyed our family because you were bored. That's not fair. Fair? Maya stood up, her voice rising. You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that Dad has to find out his wife is cheating by installing security cameras? Is it fair that I have to find out my mother is a liar? Maya, please. No. I'm going to stay with Grandma and Grandpa Hartwell. I can't even look at you right now. Maya ran upstairs to pack a bag. Lydia turned to me with desperation in her eyes. Dave, please. Help me fix this. Fix this? Lydia, you can't fix this. You broke something that can't be repaired. It was a mistake. A stupid, terrible mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk at the store. This was a choice. 6 months of choices. I'll end it with Chris. I'll do whatever you want. It's too late for that. Way too late. Maya came back downstairs with her overnight bag. I called Grandma. She's coming to pick me up. Maya, please don't go, Lydia begged. We can work through this as a family. We're not a family anymore, Maya said coldly. You made sure of that. 20 minutes later, Judith Hartwell arrived to collect her granddaughter. She didn't even acknowledge Lydia's presence. After they left, the house felt empty and cold. Lydia and I stood in our living room like strangers. So what now? She asked. Now you pack a bag and find somewhere else to stay. I'll file for divorce tomorrow. This is my house too? Not anymore. See, I did some research today. In a fault-based divorce due to adultery, the innocent spouse gets to keep the marital home, especially when there's video evidence of the adultery taking place in said home. Her face went white. You can't kick me out. I'm not kicking you out. I'm asking you to leave voluntarily. If you refuse, I'll have you removed. You bastard. I'm the bastard? Really? After everything you've done, I'm the bad guy here? She went upstairs to pack. While she was gone, I called my lawyer, Jim Patterson, and left a message explaining the situation. When Lydia came back down with her suitcase, I was waiting by the front door. Where will you go? I asked. Chris's apartment, I guess. Good. You two deserve each other. She paused at the door. Dave, I really am sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. After she left, I poured myself a large whiskey and sat in my workshop, surrounded by the furniture I'd built with my own hands. Everything in my life that mattered, my marriage, my family, my future, had been destroyed by my wife's selfishness. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. The next morning, I woke up with a hangover and a plan. I called Jim Patterson first thing. Dave, I got your message. Jesus Christ, what a mess. Jim, I want to destroy them both legally. What are my options? Well, you've got grounds for a fault-based divorce, which means you'll likely get the house, majority custody of Maya, and favorable asset division. As for the boyfriend, if he's been in your house without permission, that could be trespassing. What about at work? They're co-workers. If their relationship violates company policy, that's their problem. Do you know if their company has a fraternization policy? I'll find out. My next call was to Lydia's boss, Regional Director Patricia Walsh. I'd met Patricia several times at company functions. She was a no-nonsense woman who ran a tight ship. Patricia, this is Dave Mitchell, Lydia's husband. Oh, hello, Dave. How are you? I've been better. I'm calling because I thought you should know that Lydia and Chris Brennan have been having an affair for the past 6 months. There was a long pause. That's a very serious accusation, Dave. I have video evidence, security footage from my home showing them together on multiple occasions during work hours. I see. Can you send me that evidence? I'll email it to you this afternoon. Dave, I have to ask, are you sure you want to go down this road? Once I receive that evidence, I'll have to take action. Patricia, they've been using company time and resources to conduct their affair. Chris has been at my house during work hours. They've been lying to their colleagues about their relationship. Yes, I'm sure I want you to see the evidence. I understand. Send me what you have. After I hung up, I spent 2 hours editing the security footage into a comprehensive presentation. I included timestamps showing Chris's car in my driveway during work hours, audio of him and Lydia discussing work matters while in bed together, and clear shots of both their faces so there could be no doubt about their identities. I sent the file to Patricia with a detailed timeline and a list of dates when the affair had taken place during business hours. Then I called Mrs. Feldman. Mrs. Feldman, it's Dave Mitchell. Oh, hello, dear. How are you holding up? I'm managing. Mrs. Feldman, I wanted to thank you for keeping an eye on the house. Your vigilance helped me discover that my wife was having an affair. Oh my goodness, I knew something was going on. That silver car was there so often during the day. Yes, well, I just wanted you to know in case anyone asks. Lydia and I are getting divorced. Of course, dear. Is there anything I can do to help? Actually, if anyone asks about what you saw, please feel free to tell them the truth. Mrs. Feldman was better than a newspaper for spreading information. By evening, everyone in the neighborhood would know about Lydia's affair. My phone rang around noon. It was Chris. You son of a witch, he said without preamble. Good morning to you too, Chris. Patricia Walsh just called me into her office. She's seen your little video presentation. How'd that go? We're both suspended pending investigation. If they find evidence of misconduct, we could be fired. Gee, that's terrible. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to screw married women during work hours. You're destroying our careers over a personal matter. Personal matter? Chris, you made it a professional matter when you started using company time to conduct your affair. You made it my business when you started doing it in my house. Lydia's devastated. Good. She should be devastated. She should be ashamed and humiliated and sorry for what she's done. We never meant for this to happen. Bees, you meant for every bit of it to happen. You just didn't mean to get caught. He hung up on me. An hour later, Lydia called. Dave, please, you have to call Patricia Walsh and tell her you made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. You did. They're going to fire us both. Is that what you want? For me to lose my job? Lydia, I don't care what happens to your job. I don't care what happens to Chris's job. I care about the fact that you destroyed our marriage and humiliated our daughter. I'll do anything. I'll go to counseling. I'll cut off all contact with Chris. It's too late. It's not too late. We can fix this. No, we can't. And even if we could, I wouldn't want to. You showed me who you really are, Lydia. You're not the woman I married. You're not the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. She was crying now. Please, Dave, I love you. No, you don't. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. I hung up and turned off my phone. That evening, Maya called me from her grandparents' house. Dad, Mom came over here crying and begging Grandma and Grandpa to talk to you. What did they say? Grandpa told her she made her bed and now she has to lie in it. Grandma wouldn't even let her in the house. How are you doing, sweetheart? I'm angry, I'm sad, but I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Thanks, kiddo. That means a lot. Dad? Are you going to be okay? Yeah, Maya, I'm going to be fine. We both are. 2 days later, Jim Patterson called with an update. Dave, I've got good news and bad news. Give me the bad news first. Lydia's hired a lawyer. She's going to fight the divorce. And the good news? Her lawyer is an idiot. He's trying to claim that your security cameras were installed illegally and that the footage is inadmissible. Is he right? Not even close. You have every right to install security cameras in your own home. The footage is absolutely admissible and it's damning. What about the work situation? I heard through the grapevine that both Lydia and Chris were terminated yesterday for violating company policy. I felt a surge of satisfaction. Really? Really? Apparently your video presentation was very thorough. Their company has a strict policy against fraternization between employees, and conducting personal relationships during work hours is grounds for immediate termination. So they're both unemployed. Both unemployed, both facing a messy divorce proceeding, and both dealing with the social consequences of their actions. Good. The final piece of my revenge came together the following weekend. Eddie called me Saturday morning. Dave, you need to get down to the bar, now. Why? What's happening? Chris is here. He's drunk out of his mind and running his mouth about you. I was there in 10 minutes. Chris was at the bar, 3 sheets to the wind, telling anyone who would listen that I was a psychotic control freak who had ruined his life over nothing. Nothing? I said, walking up behind him. You call 6 months of screwing my wife nothing? He turned around, swaying slightly. Dave, there's the man of the hour. Chris, you're drunk. Go home. I don't have a home anymore. Thanks to you, I can't afford my apartment. Thanks to you, I don't have a job. Thanks to you, my girlfriend left me. Thanks to me? Chris, I didn't make you cheat. I didn't make you lie. I didn't make you destroy two families. That was all you. You set us up. You knew we were coming over that night. I knew because you've been coming over for 6 months. I knew because you're both terrible liars. The bar had gone quiet. Everyone was watching our confrontation. You want to know the truth? Chris said loudly. Your wife came to me. She said you were boring in bed, boring in life, boring in every way that matters. That was it. I grabbed Chris by his shirt and slammed him against the bar. You want to talk about boring? Let's talk about how you're a 34-year-old man who peaked in high school. Let's talk about how you have to seduce married women because no single woman will put up with your BS for more than a month. Get your hands off me. Let's talk about how you're unemployed, homeless, and universally despised by everyone who knows what you did. I released him and stepped back. You're pathetic, Chris. You were pathetic when you were sneaking around with my wife, and you're pathetic now. He took a swing at me. I ducked easily and watched him stumble past me, crashing into a table. Eddie, call him a cab, I said. He's done here. As Chris was dragged out of the bar, still mumbling threats and insults, I realized that my revenge was complete. Lydia had lost her job, her family, her reputation, and her future. Chris had lost everything too. Their affair had cost them more than they could have possibly imagined. I walked out of Murphy's Tavern into the cool night air, feeling lighter than I had in months. Tomorrow, I would start rebuilding my life. Tonight, I was finally free. Maya moved back home the following week. We ordered pizza and watched movies, just the two of us, like we used to when she was little. Dad, she said during a commercial break. Yeah? I'm glad you fought back. I'm glad you didn't just let them get away with it. Me too, kiddo. Me too. 6 months later, the divorce was final. I got the house, majority custody of Maya, and most of our assets. Lydia got a small settlement and weekend visitation rights. She moved to another state with what was left of her savings. Chris moved back in with his parents. I kept the security cameras.